Welcome to Mindful Creatives, the podcast.
I have to allow myself 20 minutes at least minimum of time where I just do things for myself. I turn on my meditation music in the house just the first thing in the morning, and then I go and whisk up a Japanese green tea and I whisk that up.
Yeah.
That for me is giving me the me time.
I'm your host, Tran-Flores. When life seems to go too fast and your thoughts overwhelm you, perhaps it's time to slow down by giving your attention to the present moment. On today's episode, we have Dai Lee. Thank you so much for joining me, Dai.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
I want to ask, can you give me 3 words that describe you?
3 words that describe me. I love the word courageous.
Yeah.
Courage. That's the word that describes me a lot, is courage. The other word I'd say is humble. I just think that where I started, how I came here, humility plays a huge role in my life. I always want to remain humble. And community, for me, is about the people, the community. So those, I think, the 3 words that probably best describe me.
I love that. And as someone who has also said the word humble, I don't think you would say this about yourself too, but inspiring. You have really inspired not just myself, but a community of women and of those of Asian background. So, Dai, do you want to share with us who you are and what it is that you do?
Well, for people who do not know who I am, and I'm sure not many people do, only unless they live in Fowler. But so I am currently the federal member for Fowler, which is a federal electorate in southwest Sydney. And I'm the first ever Vietnamese speaking and a woman of refugee background to be elected into the Federal Parliament of Australia, the 47th Parliament.
Yep.
And in addition, the first ever independent member of Parliament for the seat of for the electorate of Fowler. So that's my, I suppose, my professional role.
Yeah.
The other is I'm a mother of a wonderful, gorgeous 20-year-old boy, married to a German husband who was born in Germany but came here when he was 21, and also the eldest sister to my 3 younger siblings. And an aunt to how many nieces? 4 nieces and 1 nephew.
Yeah.
So and an owner of 2 dogs, Bella, who is a Beagle, and Clancy, a rescue dog who is half Maltese, half Shih Tzu.
And when people ask me who Dai Lee is and what does Dai Lee do, I have a very simplified answer that I give them. And I say, you are the voice for us. You come to the community and you talk to us and you ask us what we need. And then you go to Parliament and you say, this is what my people are asking for.
Yeah, look, I do. I advocate, and I'm a strong advocate for our community in Fowler. And not just Fowler, because I think what I do sometimes, a lot of the times, people who live in southwest Sydney or western Sydney, especially those of our migrant background, often their voices, their issues, the challenges, their lived experiences have not been actually shared to the wider Australian community. Yeah. So I see myself as a communicator and also a storyteller. And that was I started from as a storyteller, as a journalist. So I see that I continue in that role to share the amazing diverse stories that we have in our community here in Western and Southwest Sydney, and in particular in Fowler, and bring that to the Federal Parliament, to the floor of the Federal Parliament, and not just the floor of the Federal Parliament, but in the media, because I do often get interviews on national media, and I think it has been really rewarding, I would say, for me, that I have been able to successfully share our stories to the rest of the country and hopefully the world. Because as you know, those who've grown up in Fowler or Western Sydney would know that in the past 2 decades, 3 decades, our community has often been marginalised, have forgotten, been really neglected, and no focus has been put into how you can grow and nurture the talent and the families and the businesses within our community to show that we are actually quite unique and we have so much to share and so much knowledge to contribute to shaping not just our area but the state and the country. So that's, you know, so I feel very privileged that the community said, we want you to represent us in the federal parliament, and so therefore they've placed their trust in me to do that. And, you know, I've been in Parliament now for 12 months, and I believe every single day, at every opportunity in Parliament or in conversations with ministers and shadow ministers and with CEOs and with industry, to put our community front and centre of my conversation.
As a young girl who was born in Australia but with parents who were refugees and immigrants, it's a funny thing to see a woman in Parliament speaking up for us, because growing up I was told to, it was very much you're seen, not heard so much. You don't speak out, you don't fight against anything. So therefore the people in our community, they didn't feel empowered to speak out. But then to see you coming up here, your journey has been a long time since coming here. You started when you were in your 20s, I believe. I
started my journalism when I was in my 20s. So that was a storytelling journey of mine, and that was my previous career, if you can call it that. And I didn't see it as a career. I just saw it as an opportunity to tell stories from our area. So I'd spent that for 20 years doing storytelling before I stepped into politics in 2008. And I did not step into politics thinking that's what I want to be. I really got into a community issue around parking. That's how I got going, because it's over a car park. And I keep saying this to people. They said, oh, how did you get into politics in the first place? I said, well, I did not plan to get into politics. And as you know, in our community, people don't think about politics. You know, all the kids, I mean, you were born here. I'm the 1.5 generation, which means I came here when I was young. But even that, I was told you either have to become a doctor, a lawyer, a pharmacist, an accountant, a dentist, optometrist. Those
architect,
are the,
engineer.
Engineer. So those are the professions that your parents expected you to be. Not in creatives. Like when I became a journalist, my beloved late mother said, what's that? What do you do? Do you get paid a lot? Or, you know, it does. So for them, it's about status and it's about money. Right? If you do something that's not worth a lot of money or get paid a lot of money, then it's not a job. It's not something that they encourage you to do. So
it's not about following your passion. It's about what's going to pay the bills and put food on the table.
Absolutely. And make sure you get married, have kids, have a house. That's our...
Where you're going to have time to do all that if you're busy working and, you know, building a career in something that's probably not going to bring you a lot of money.
No. And I had my son late because of the fact that I focus on my development as a storyteller. And I loved what I was doing as a journalist, so I didn't have time to think about having a kid. You know, until in my late 30s, when I'm thinking, oh, better have one. You know? So,
and you have a beautiful boy now.
I do. I do.
And that brings me to demand of your time now, because you are a wife, you are a mother, you are the community leader. How do you juggle it all?
Yeah, people have asked me that. Over the years, they said, where do you get your energy from and why you do what you do? I've always been very active all my life, but I think I became more active in 2014 after I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I got treated for it and I survived that. So I think once I was diagnosed and was told that I had breast cancer, suddenly for me, I just realized that I could die anytime. You know, today, I mean, I
you live presently.
So you believe, so you kind of focus on how important it is, life is, every single moment. So that then propelled me to do things that I wanted to do things with a purpose. So I started Dawn, which is a not-for-profit organisation to really get the conversation around diversity in leadership, because I wasn't seeing that many people of culturally diverse background in leadership roles. So that was started in I started in 2014-15 after I got treated for cancer. So I build on that, and so I just every day I remind myself I have to be grateful that I'm alive.
Yeah.
That I have to make sure whatever I was doing had a purpose to it, and that I had to be so present in whatever I was doing, being present.
Yeah.
Of course, you can't practice it all the time.
Yeah.
Right? Because there are times when you lapse back into being an automatic pilot.
Yeah.
But I think having breast cancer mean that you tend to live life at a much faster pace.
Yeah.
And then, but I know when I'm present, say for instance when I'm at home with my family, I'm present there.
Yeah.
Of course, sometimes the phone doesn't stop.
Practice makes progress. The more you do it, the better you become at it. And it's not a perfect journey into being present and being mindful. It's all the little things that add up to it.
Absolutely. And as long as you don't think, oh my God, there are too many things, then you don't get overwhelmed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
there will always be too many things, but today there's only so much things you can do.
Exactly. And there's some, I used to feel when I first started on this journey to do things a lot more, I used to feel, oh my God, I feel guilty that I couldn't meet somebody or do something.
Yeah.
But now I feel that I obviously I've got a diary now, which, we manage that with our diary and being knowing that you got to allocate time. Like before I got here, I had an event on, and I allow for 15 minutes, which sometimes you should allow for more than 15 minutes, but I thought I could allow for 15 minutes, but I normally in the past I would have got stressed because I'm going to get here 5 minutes late. Yeah. But I thought, well, look, it's going to be okay. Just do it with ease and grace.
Yeah.
So sometimes when I'm in a balanced mood, in a sense, what I mean by that is that when I'm not so stressed, I would say, do it with ease and grace. Yeah. And when I say that to myself, you feel it.
Yeah, that's right.
Because words, I read somewhere that, I think it was Bruce Lee, must have been, find a Bruce Lee quote, where whatever words you put out there, it actually impacts your body, and your energy. So therefore you have to be very mindful of the words that you use.
Yeah. It's like they people say the most powerful words in the English dictionary or in the world is the words I am. Because whatever you put after that is the energy that you're bringing yourself
Absolutely.
towards.
And people don't believe that sometimes. No. But I've practiced it, so I know it's true.
Yeah.
I keep on saying to people, your words are so important.
Yeah.
Make sure what you say, what goes out there, really, you don't know, but it has a flow-on effect, not just on the other person, but on your own self.
Yeah, that's right.
So you have to be mindful of that. Yeah. But I don't know if I answered your question around being busyness. You just do it. No. And make sure you have a calendar to manage your time.
Yeah. You're managing your diary, okay, and there's a lot on your schedule. Are we also adding time out in there? What's your favourite way, what I call your me time?
Yeah. So I normally in the past, I'll go through troughs, up and down, whereby I can manage my me time in there, which is I go for walks down the park, especially during summer when I can wake up early and it's not too dark, in the evening it's not too dark and go for walks in the evening. Winter is different because it's dark, and then you think by the time you get home 6 o'clock you want to go, or 7 o'clock you think, okay, I'll go for a walk. Oh, still it's so dark, so you don't do it. But then 6-7 weeks ago, as you know, I went on the 6 weeks health program with DIY PT.
Yeah, we did that together.
Yeah, we did that together. And I think I did that because I wanted to get into the habit of exercising again. Yeah. And it was timely because it was 6-7 weeks ago that my mother passed away, and I knew that I had to do something so that I don't get into a depression mode. Because when I get sad and people, I'm lucky is that I can catch myself, because some people don't catch themselves going into depression. So I knew that I'm going to go into that mode of morning and overthinking.
Yeah.
So I thought I had to exercise, and so I did. And that has been so good, because every day since I started that program, I don't think there has been a day when I have not done 20 minutes of exercise.
Oh, that's amazing, Di.
So I did it every day, because that was something I had to force myself, because for my health, for my mental health, well-being.
And that's the thing, right? Like, I don't believe in the word balance when it comes to life, because it's so hard to try and drink, sleep 8 hours a day, drink, 8 glasses of water, and exercise an hour, whatever it is. It's all about priorities for the week. So you're prioritizing what's important. And sometimes it's okay to be like, you know what, today we can't do the 20 minutes of exercise. We've got to do something else.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I mean, I just, if I can do some stretches, I don't have to be regimented. But for me, I think it's the mindset.
Yeah.
It's what you want to, as you said, prioritize, what you want to do, what you think would be good for you.
Yeah.
Right?
It's your own personal
journey. So it's very much, I believe very much it's an individual decision.
Yeah, that's right.
You have to make your mind up what you want for yourself.
You can use other people as inspiration, but ultimately you've got to pick and choose what parts of their life works for you.
Absolutely. So, when sometimes people say to me, oh, I want to be like you. I said, no, you don't want to be like me.
You want to be like yourself.
You want to be yourself.
Yeah.
What I might be doing something that you might learn from, but then you get that lesson to do what you want for you, because we are all individuals. We all have our unique signature of many things. So
my dad actually asked me the other day, he goes, you're around Di a lot now, and I was like, yeah, I get to see her quite often. I'm very grateful for that. He goes, so when are you getting into politics? And I was like, never. And I was like, why would you think? He goes, because you're around Di, isn't that? I was like, no, that's Di's journey. That's not my journey. I can't imagine myself in politics, but...
but don't say that, because,
But you never know.
You never know.
Yeah.
I never imagined myself in politics.
I never imagined myself as a business owner.
So there you go. So you never say no to anything.
Yeah.
Right? So that's one of the things I've learned. Never say no. And sometimes you do all this self-development where people will say, say no. You don't say yes all the time.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, sometimes you think, well, I can say no.
Yeah.
Right? But sometimes you never say no.
You just say maybe.
Maybe, maybe.
We'll think about it.
But you just have to keep your mind open.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing, is keep your mind open for anything. Try things out. I mean, I went and tried the cryotherapy.
Oh, yeah.
At Wetherill Park.
Yeah.
I never imagined myself to go into the fridge and to stand in the freezer, I call it, for minus 140 degrees for 3 minutes. Never. But I thought to myself, I'm going to give it a go.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I did it twice, but it did help with my pain because after chemo and radiation, you'd get a lot of, for me anyway, I had a lot of pain. So I tried it out and it worked.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still ongoing pain because it's acute pain in your body.
But you're doing something about it. You've taken a step to trying to help it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So being open.
Yeah. So never say no to politics. So basically, if your dad said that, you must say, "Oh, Dad, I don't know. At the moment, I'm focusing on business, but who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows where you would end up? You never know.
It's so true. I want to go back home and tell Dad and say, I changed my mind. I might go into politics. I changed my mind.
And we need more women in politics.
We do,
especially women of culturally and linguistically diverse backgrounds. So
Because people relate to people who are similar to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of my questions for you is, can you share with us a tip on a way to not spread yourself so thin when you're so in demand so much?
Oh, that's a terrible question to ask me, because people say to me, you always spread yourself too thin. But I think...
What do you try to do?
Yeah. No, I don't mean terrible. I said, for me, it's a question that basically I do spread myself too thin.
Yeah, but you're learning.
But I'm learning, right? And I think as we go, like what I said before, is that if that's what you want to do, if that's what you love doing, you don't see it as being spreading yourself too thin.
Yeah.
Like when people say, "Oh, how much you're working so hard," but if you don't see it as work, you don't see it's working hard. Do you know what I mean?
I do. I relate to that because people always ask, like, you do so much, how? But you're right. It's not work.
No.
It's my life. Like,
Exactly.
I get so much joy and passion from waking up doing it versus, like, you know, if I was to do something I hated.
Exactly. If you have to go and do something that you don't want to do, then that's work. And then you have to then show that you're doing it because in order to impress the boss or whoever, then that's spreading yourself too thin. But I do, I mean, as you know, I mean, like I said, I'm so mindful that I have to allow myself 20 minutes at least minimum of time where I just do things for myself. I turn on my meditation music in the house just the first thing in the morning, and then I go and whisk up a Japanese green tea, and then I boil the water and I sit and I drink for 5-10 minutes, just a glass of water and that and music, and have breakfast with my husband. That for me is giving me the me time. It's not long, but that's enough for me to start my day. And then throughout the day, like, you know, my week this week has just been chocker, back-to-back meetings, talking meetings, and you have to process all the different information, community needs, policy, and all of that. And so then at night, I have to do a bit of just...
You need to debrief yourself.
Yes, I need to just have my wind down, which is my... Now, since the healthy or the DYPT program, I do my exercise now, and then have a cup of tea and just wind down with my dogs, and if my son is there on the weekend, winding down with him. So yes, it looks like I probably spread myself too thin because I've got so many things to go to, events to go to, meetings to attend, and I'm constantly out there, especially in the media. It does look for a normal person, oh my God, where does she find the time? But it is, I feel that my time is limited, you know, so therefore you don't know when the switch gets switches off, the light gets switched off. So I just have to live my life.
I can relate to that a lot. Like, you went through breast cancer, and we had our car accident, and it really shifts your focus.
Absolutely,
and makes you wonder, like, is it worth saying, "Oh, I'll do it next week," or you know what, I'm just going to do it today because today could be it.
Absolutely, that's right. When you went through that, you know, you probably had a shift in that moment in your mind, and it's funny. I keep on saying to people, our mind is actually a very powerful tool. If we learn how to use it. I have done so many self-development courses over the years, so it has to take your own self motivation, and it sometimes does take a crisis to really shift your focus and shift your mindset. And once you start shifting it and you constantly do things to shift it, then it's just...
There's no going back.
There's no, that's right,
Favorite affirmation that you say to yourself?
My favorite one is that I'm you know, I have to say it as often as I can, is that I'm so grateful. I'm very grateful that whatever life throws at me, I know it's a lesson for me to learn.
I love that. Life is like, before was this slow moving river, right? You're flowing through it, you're just doing your thing, and then it's this automatic, as soon as there's a shift where it hits like the rapids. How do people deal from that shift between the slow moving right into that rapids?
Look, I think it does take a lot of self-discipline, and I think it does take a lot of lived experience of transitioning from something that you know, like as previously my life as a journalist, you go, you interview people, you come back, you have the time to edit it, and then I transitioned into the political arena, but not the actual, not the federal sphere, but I went in from journalism into a local politics, which then enabled me to learn from being just an ordinary person doing stories to just suddenly, oh my God, dealing with all of these fights and abuse and all of that.
Yeah.
But that was a very good transition for me to prepare me for what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
I don't think there is a tip as such, but I think my only advice for people is that to embrace the failures.
Yeah.
Because as you transition from something that you do as an ordinary job, or not ordinary, but just a job, a 9 to 5 everyday job, to something that requires a different set of skills, you've got to be prepared to embrace failures, because along the way you'll be tripping and you'll be falling because you haven't got the skill set yet.
Yeah.
So therefore, for me, I can tell you that from the transitioning from where I was to where I am now, there have been many failures. There have been many setbacks. There have been many attacks and lessons. Attacks from people, attacks from, you know, the people around you. But those experiences, those failures have prepared me for what I'm doing now. So it's about having, again, going back to the mindset of, and not being scared that you'll make a mistake.
Yeah.
Embrace it.
Thank you so much, and thank you for joining us and your time today, Di. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me, and congratulations for having this podcast.
Thank you.
I also want to acknowledge your amazing journey and watching you in the last few years, growing your business.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, keep going.
Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe to Mindful Creatives, the podcast, for more real-world advice from my guests on how to apply mindfulness to inspire creativity and improve all areas of your life.